Gentlemen, let me start with a truth bomb. Attraction isn't a magic trick. It's a byproduct of who you are becoming. If you think you need to win a woman over with slick lines or manipulative tactics, you've already lost. Real attraction isn't about chasing someone until they give in. It's about becoming someone she genuinely wants to be around. Even if she's not interested right now, you can become the kind of man who changes that. If you want to attract any woman, even one who isn't initially interested, the most important starting point is developing an unshakable sense of self-worth. Most men go wrong because they approach women from a place of neediness, hoping that her interest will validate their value. But that energy is repelling. Confidence isn't about being loud or arrogant. It's about being grounded in who you are, regardless of how others respond to you. When a man knows his worth, he doesn't need approval. He's not seeking permission to feel good about himself. He sets high standards, not just for others, but for himself. He knows what he brings to the table, his discipline, his values, his ambitions, and his emotional strength. This kind of man walks into a room and commands respect without demanding it. Women feel that energy instantly because it's rare, real, and powerful. Building self-worth isn't an overnight process. It comes from doing hard things, keeping promises to yourself, facing your fears, and pushing through discomfort. Every time you overcome a challenge, you prove to yourself that you are capable and worthy. And that proof builds quiet, lasting confidence. Women are highly intuitive. They can feel the difference between a man who's pretending to be confident and one who has earned it. If you want to be the kind of man who turns no interest into intrigued curiosity, start by becoming someone you deeply respect. When you stop seeking validation and start embodying value, everything changes. Your posture changes. Your tone of voice changes. Your presence becomes more magnetic. And that's when she starts to notice, because the strongest attraction begins not with how you look or what you say, but with how you feel about yourself. Most men fail to make a real connection because they treat interactions with women like a strategy game. They focus too much on saying the right thing or acting a certain way to spark interest. But the truth is, no woman wants to feel like she's being analyzed or manipulated. Genuine curiosity is far more attractive than any pre-planned line or tactic. When you're truly interested in who she is, not just how she looks, you instantly set yourself apart. Think about it. Everyone wants to feel seen and understood. If you're talking to a woman with the mindset of, how do I make her like me? You're already missing the point. You're making it about you. But when you approach her with honest curiosity, when you ask thoughtful questions, when you listen not to respond but to understand, you create a space where she feels safe, heard, and appreciated. This doesn't mean you need to agree with everything she says or pretend to care about topics that don't interest you. It means showing up as a man who is present, who values meaningful conversation, and who pays attention. That kind of presence is rare, and it's magnetic. When you stop trying to impress and start trying to connect, everything shifts. The pressure disappears. You're not chasing her approval anymore. You're exploring who she is. And if she senses that you're someone who sees past the surface, who engages with depth and authenticity, she'll feel something most men fail to offer, a real emotional spark. That's when even the most disinterested woman might pause, take a second look, and wonder who you really are. Because in a world full of noise, the man who listens stands out. Rejection is one of the biggest fears for most men when it comes to approaching or attracting women. But the way you respond to rejection defines you far more than the rejection itself. When a woman isn't interested, most guys take it personally. They internalize it as a statement about their worth or their masculinity. But the truth is, rejection often has little to do with you, and everything to do with timing, circumstances, or her own preferences. The key is learning to embrace rejection, not fear it. A man who handles rejection with confidence and grace immediately sets himself apart. Instead of reacting with frustration, bitterness, or self-doubt, He simply accepts it, learns from it, and moves on with dignity. This mindset not only protects your self-esteem, but also shows women that you're not emotionally fragile. You're not desperate for approval. And that in itself is deeply attractive. Rejection is a powerful teacher. It forces you to reflect, refine, and grow. Maybe your approach needs work. Maybe your energy was off. Or maybe it was just a mismatch. Either way, every rejection is a step closer to mastery, if you're willing to learn from it. The man who welcomes feedback, adjusts without losing confidence, and keeps showing up is the man who eventually stands out. Ironically, the more comfortable you become with rejection, the less it happens. Women can sense when a man is secure in himself, when he's not afraid of a no, and when he's detached from outcomes. That detachment is powerful. It creates space for genuine connection instead of pressure or performance. And once you stop fearing rejection, you become fearless in conversation, bold in your presence, and unshakable in your pursuit, not of women, but of your best self. That's when true attraction begins. One of the most attractive things a man can do is build a life so rich, fulfilling, and purpose-driven that others naturally want to be part of it. Too many men make the mistake of putting their lives on hold in hopes of finding the right woman. But attraction doesn't work that way. You don't attract by waiting, you attract by becoming. When you're deeply engaged in your passions, chasing your goals, and living with direction, you radiate an energy that's impossible to ignore. A woman wants to feel like she's joining an exciting, meaningful journey, not becoming the center of your entire world. That's a heavy pressure, and most people don't want that responsibility. Instead, build a life that you love, with or without anyone beside you. Cultivate hobbies, focus on your career, prioritize your health, nurture your friendships. When your life is full, you're not coming from a place of lack or neediness. You're choosing who fits into the world you've created, not begging for someone to complete it. This kind of lifestyle is incredibly attractive because it signals maturity, confidence, and independence. It tells her you're not looking for someone to save you from boredom or loneliness. You're inviting her to share in something meaningful. You're not just interesting for a moment, you're inspiring for the long run. And here's the truth. When you live with purpose, people notice. You carry yourself differently. You speak with more conviction. You make decisions with clarity. That kind of presence draws others in, often without you even trying. The woman who once seemed disinterested might start to see you in a new light, not because you tried to impress her, but because you impressed yourself first. That's how real attraction begins, with a man who's too focused on living well to chase approval. Many men confuse masculinity with dominance, thinking they need to act tough, emotionless, or controlling to win a woman's interest. But that version of masculinity is outdated, shallow, and often a cover for insecurity. Real masculinity, the kind that genuinely attracts women, is about presence, strength, and emotional stability. It's not about being loud or aggressive. It's about being solid, dependable, and in control of yourself. A truly masculine man doesn't need to prove his worth by putting others down or acting superior. Instead, he shows strength through calmness, confidence, and clarity. He's the one who can stay grounded in conflict, who protects not by force, but by understanding and standing firm when it matters. He's assertive without being disrespectful, and confident without being arrogant. This balance is rare, and that's exactly why it's attractive. Women are not looking for someone who tries to overpower them. They're looking for someone who makes them feel safe, respected, and inspired. That means being emotionally intelligent, honest about your feelings, and willing to take the lead without controlling the other person. It means being able to hold space for her emotions, while not being thrown off by your own. That's what true strength looks like. You don't have to change your personality or pretend to be someone you're not. But you do have to refine your character. Being masculine isn't about being perfect, It's about showing up with integrity, leading with purpose, and owning both your power and your vulnerability. When you embody that kind of energy, even a woman who wasn't initially interested will start to feel a shift. Because deep down, people are drawn to those who are anchored in who they are. And when you're that kind of man, she won't just notice, you'll earn her respect. And that's where real attraction starts. So how do you attract any woman, even if she isn't interested? You become a man so rooted in purpose, so full of life, and so emotionally intelligent that her interest becomes the natural outcome of your evolution. This isn't about changing for her. It's about evolving for you. And trust me, when you become that man, she won't just notice. She'll want to be part of your story. Now go write it.